Hey there, welcome back to Hey Abbott's Handbags. Today I'm going to focus on part one of my black handbag collection, which is the LBB edition. LBB, little black bag. Just like every woman needs an LBD in her wardrobe, so I think that you could use an LBB in your handbag collection because they're so versatile. Little black bag can take you day to night, casual to dressy. If this is content that you find helpful or interesting, please give me a subscribe. As I plan to upload more content, I thought maybe I'd try for every Thursday. Since I have been on YouTube for years, I decided it is about time I started making my own content. The first handbag that I bought, LBB, was Saint Laurent's Mini Lou. Now, sadly, they have changed the Mini Lou. This is the older version, which I think is stunningly beautiful. I have just always really loved this green leather. It has held up so beautifully. The inside is leather lined. Usually people look at this as maybe a starter bag for their handbag collection. If you can get the older version with the green leather, I highly recommend it. The newer version, I'm not that thrilled with. I know that they updated the Lou line to be more, I don't know. I don't know if it's trendier, but I don't know. You can't beat a classic. This was just beautiful leather in the sun. This actually sparkles and shines and looks so pretty. I loved the black and silver. It does have the back pocket. Yeah, they updated it to maybe a smooth calfskin and got rid of the tassel. I'm not sure why. Maybe people complained because they felt like it got caught, but I just feel like it gives your bag a little extra. So I have used this many times, and it was absolutely worth it. And if you can find the older version pre-loved, I would highly recommend that. The next LBB I got was from Chanel. Chanel, I thought, what could be more classic than a little black bag from Chanel? And I wound up getting a seasonal. One of the reasons was because at the time, it was when the mini squares and the mini rectangles were just in high demand. You could hardly get them. And I went into store and I tried on the only two little black handbags that they had in at the time, which was a bucket bag, which was extremely small and could hardly even fit your phone in. And then they had this seasonal one, I think from a previous season. At any rate, I actually thought that I really did like this style. I didn't mind the lambskin. This lambskin has held up so well over time. There's really no scratching on it. I do keep it stuffed just to keep the shape, but I did really appreciate that it has the full back pocket instead of the Mona Lisa pocket. That's very handy sometimes, and I loved the little top handle. And then when you see those CCs in the sunshine, they also sparkle and shine, and it looks really nice. The lady at the store said, you know what, you're going to really like having something a little bit different in your collection from everybody else, and she was right. So I bought this to wear to a wedding, and then somehow or other I forgot to wear it to the wedding. However, I have used it many times after that. I've traveled with it. It has held up. I've used it many a time, and it's in beautiful condition. I'm glad that I have that one. The next LBB was from Louis Vuitton. Now, I did go into store, and this was kind of an impulse purchase. I had no plans to buy this bag, but I fell in love with the leather. So this is the Cousin line. This is the pochette. Yeah, I didn't really bank on the capacity as much as I was just bowled over by the squishiness of the leather and just how soft and pillowy it is. I wasn't looking really at any of the larger sizes. So that's my only regret, is that I just kind of impulse bought and didn't really think it through, because this is the smallest capacity bag in my collection. Just as a side note, now take this with a grain of salt because I mispronounce things all the time, but it kind of does drive me crazy when people call this the cousin bag. It's not a cousin. Your aunt's children are your cousins. Cousin, remember, this is a French brand. I know that we kind of, have some issues with the pronunciation, and sometimes I do too. So like I said, take it with a grain of salt. but it does kind of drive me crazy. This is not a cousin. This is a cousin. However, I don't really recommend this bag. I can get my phone in it, a key fob, and card holder, and maybe a lip product, but it just doesn't really hold anything else. I also have a different strap on here than what it came with. This is from one of my other Louis Vuitton bags, and it was just lighter because the strap that it came with, and I'll show you here, was literally this extremely heavy, clanky, clunky chain. I mean, this part is cute. It's just like a little LV. I mean, if anybody's interested in buying that off me, let me know. I'll gladly take best offers because I never use it. It just sits in my closet. I'm just not a chain strap person. And it was so heavy that I just didn't care for it. Yeah, not much to say about it. I probably use this the least amount of all the LBBs. And the last one is from Dior. Now, I have loved Dior for quite some time, and I wound up getting the small Lady DJoy. I had looked at people's black classic bags for many years and just thought how beautiful. I've always loved them when someone else is carrying them, but I kind of wanted a fresher uptake. And also I have a couple of Dior's in my collection, and I thought, you know what, I really want a classic black version. So I wound up getting this version. If anybody is on the fence about Dior's quality, I have to say, shout out to Dior. I think their leather is absolutely beautiful. If you look at the bottom, I mean, this is all lambskin, and look, there's like not a mark on it. It's absolutely beautiful. The leather is shiny, and the quilting is puffy, the canage quilting, and it's just beautiful. I also like the DJoy for several reasons. One, because there's many options I feel for it. So besides the handles going down, which is such a relief, then your handles sticking up all the time, I always, you know, had an issue with the fact that when you go to put your bag up, sometimes the regular Lady Dior kind of, if you don't place it right, it will fall over. But this one you don't have an issue with. Also, you get two straps, which I don't happen to have here, but one is for the shoulder and like a shoulder strap, and one is just a crossbody. So you have multiple ways to wear this bag. It's got the magnetic closure. The small size doesn't hold a lot. This is not a big capacity, but it works. You can do it. So I would kind of say if you're looking at the Lady DJoy line to consider going up from the small size, I do not see how anybody can fit anything into the micro size. Now, funny story with my Lady DJoy. After I purchased it, I thought, oh gosh, I have so many black bags in my collection that I don't know if I want to keep black. Maybe I should go back in and see what colors they were. So I went to my nearest Dior, which is not my regular sales associate. I have an amazing Dior sales associate. She is so sweet. She had upgraded my dust bag to the Lady Dior dust bag. When I took it into the new Dior, I met a very nice guy, seemed nice, and I decided after a lot of thought that, you know what, I'm just going to go home and keep my purchase and keep it as the classic black. Well, he said to me, let me take that in the back and wrap it for you. And as soon as he did that, I am not kidding, I felt so nervous like something was wrong. I tell you this story because very often I have heard horror stories about how people didn't watch what was happening with their bag, and when they got home and unpackaged it, they had the wrong bag. Well, when I came home and unpackaged it, I didn't have the wrong bag, but I didn't have the correct dust bag. He literally swapped dust bags on me. He downgraded my Lady Dior dust bag, and he gave me just a regular Dior dust bag. And it was just a very bizarre experience. It's like, why would somebody do that? Gave me your card, but guess what? You lost my business because you absolutely lost my trust. So I had wound up telling my regular sales associate, who is so sweet, and she automatically gave me another Lady Dior dust bag. So I tell you that just to be forewarned that sometimes, things go wrong when you're making luxury purchases. And if you get a very, odd feeling, just make sure that you're paying attention and that you double check before you leave the store that everything is okay. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will be seeing you next Thursday. Please hit the like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.